My story starts actually when I was 24 and I started counselling with Pregnancy Help Sydney. I did a training course and I had a real passion to reach out to women. 5 years in, I did it for 10 years altogether, and then in the last 5 years of doing that counselling, I was astounded at the amount of calls that not only myself as a counsellor, but all of us counsellors were inundated with women experiencing post-abortion trauma. From then on, I would say at least 3/4 of my callers were ladies in great distress, in deep sadness, and anguish over this decision that they'd made. Some of them had made the decision 20 years prior and had finally reached a point where they needed to speak out or needed to talk to somebody, and had called our counselling line. It hadn't been the day before, or it hadn't been even the month before that they'd had this abortion and they were now ringing for help. It had been many years for most of them. And they had suffered through those years, some with alcoholism, some with drug abuse, breakdown of relationships, many of your typical mental health or social issues that we find with women today. The head of our organisation at the time, because we were all experiencing this massive influx of callers, we had a fellow come out from America, a psychiatrist who had dealt specifically with post-abortion syndrome, had written books and done a lot of research, and he came to train us. He came to give us a lot more input. Well, it's like most post-traumatic disorders, so there can be panic, there can be a lot of anxiety, the typical manifestations of depression. Just to put it in a nutshell, complete loss of joy in living. What we were taught to do and what we had to do with these women initially was validate their feelings, because the biggest problem with post-abortion trauma for these poor women is that it's not validated. Like any other trauma, even with a miscarriage or with some other great grief in someone's life, a death of a loved one, or a breakdown of a relationship, there is acknowledgement and support out there. With abortion, it's so hidden, it's so expected that this is just a normal part of life, and you've made this choice, but your body, your choice, you shouldn't be feeling bad about this. But, they'll have the pro-lifers saying, well, you've murdered your baby, what do you expect to feel? They have the pro-choicers saying, you made the choice, there shouldn't be a problem with you. And they've got nowhere to go. Many, many women that I did speak to as well, with their suffering after the after effects of abortion, said if only they'd had more time, if only they'd had a little bit more information. In just about all cases that I spoke to of women who were feeling this and who were expressing this trauma, they felt pressured. They felt enormous pressure. That wasn't always from somebody else. In some cases it was a partner, it was a parent, it was a friend even, putting pressure on them that this was the very best thing they could be doing was to terminate the pregnancy at that stage in their life. In other cases, probably more cases, it was a financial pressure that they felt. It was a social pressure. It was a feeling of being unmarried or alone, just a desperation. I can't do this on my own and I have no support. And those circumstances put the pressure on them to feel they had no other choice but to terminate their pregnancies. In just about all of those cases, the women's voice felt like it had been suppressed from the beginning and they really couldn't do what their natural urge was. But I was in this situation myself. So when women would tell me this, especially after my second pregnancy when I had the very same situation, I would be able to go back and feel exactly as I felt at my 20-week scan with my son, my second child, and they diagnosed a very severe tumour, abnormality in my child. And it was a shock. And of course, I wasn't prepared to hear anything of that. They called the neonatal specialist in to talk to me, and she sat at the desk, she pulled out a textbook, she said, this is exactly what your baby's been diagnosed with, here's the textbook picture. you can have an abortion. And it was very matter of fact. It was, look at it, the facts are here, this is what your baby has. It's pretty serious. It's he's probably unlikely to survive. If he does, there's a lot of surgery and a lot of carry on about it. You can have an abortion. And I sat there and I was completely overwhelmed. My heart and my emotions at that point was, oh my goodness, should I have an abortion? Is it wrong of me to keep going with this pregnancy? Am I going to make my baby suffer? And she was looking directly, and and I trusted her because she's world-renowned, the specialist. She's from the SAN, and she's world-renowned as a neonatal specialist. I felt I needed someone I could trust right there and then. I didn't know the medical background. I was reaching out for somebody to tell me, the facts and that we can do something about this. We're medical professionals, we're going to help you through this. But no, instead it was, you can have an abortion. I was very shaken, and I did say to her in the end, that's out of the question. And she sort of took a deep breath as if to say, oh, she's going to go down this long road. And not wittingly, but she in her going through, okay, well, this is what we're going to have to do, it was more like, are you sure about this, in her voice? This is not an easy path. This is unlikely to have a good outcome. And I sat there and I looked at my 2-year-old who was at my feet, and I just sat and listened. And I said, we will do what it takes. There's nothing more I can do except do what I have to do to help this child. So, and she was astounded. And she kept saying, are you sure? Would you rather go home and speak to your husband first? You can change your mind at any moment. And I think, oh, goodness, God help those women who don't have the supportive husband I had, who don't have the loving family around me that helped me through that time, through that next 20 weeks of tumultuous pregnancy. He had a sacrococcygeal teratoma, which is a tumour on the base of the spine. It's called teratoma, which is a Latin word for terrible, because they're an unknown type of tumour. They're unknown in the sense they don't know why they've occurred or where they've come from, but they have elements of tissue, bone. His was already fairly big by the time they diagnosed it, so there was a chance that even if it didn't kill him, that tumour itself, he would develop fetal hydrops, which is heart failure, and his organs were under pressure with this thing growing on a little newborn baby. The tumour grew over his kidneys. The tumour was internal from the back, grew around, and it was completely squashing his kidneys. At one point, one in particular was completely taken over by this tumour, and they kept putting colour through the organs to check. They kept saying to me, we don't know why these kidneys are working, but they're working. This tumour is completely over the top of this kidney, but the kidney is working. So by the time he was about 30 weeks, it was like a rock melon, also out the side of his body. So it was about 3 weeks before, and on that ultrasound, the tumour was alive and well. So 3 weeks later at the caesarean, there was no sign of it. It had disappeared. It had disappeared. Now, it's an unexplainable medical phenomenon that happened. I don't think it's as rare as people think, actually, but it had gone. And he was perfectly healthy. There was no need for the surgery. They were poking, they were prodding, they were looking for it. They saw this little scar there. He has scar tissue around that area as well. He has some extra blood vessels that developed in his leg to supply blood to the tumour. But that's a scar, and everything else is complete.